Episode 156.
Woo!
Should have been episode 169, am I right?
Whoa! Right out of the gate. No time. Yeah, you guessed it if you heard that. Zach is on the pod tonight.
Hello.
That's all you could glean from that.
Hello, everybody.
You doing the voice the whole time? I hope.
No, I'm not. I returned.
Oh.
I've returned to this savage podcast of ours.
Wow.
Whoa. Was that a Hannibal impression, though?
It was. I was going for Hannibal. Yep.
So that was dead on.
Thanks, man.
Master of impersonations, master of ceremonies. You got a very decorative room back there behind you.
Master of baiting after watching this episode, am I right, guys?
Very nice. Very nice. Boing. Bonjour.
Yeah. All I got to say is I was pretty happy I watched this one on Tubi TV, not a sponsor, because it gave me a couple 2-minute breaks throughout for ads, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Is this on Tubi?
Yeah,
I didn't even realize
That's
that.
how I watched it.
I bought this.
Stupid.
Did you buy
I got the Blu-ray. I got the Blu-ray.
You got
Oh
the
my
Blu-ray.
goodness.
Of course you
I
did.
watched it free on Plex.
I thought maybe.
And it is on Plex.
Similar
as well.
ad structure, I would assume, though.
Yeah.
I had several
Now, I will
breaks.
say, the only reason that I did get the Blu-ray is because an Amazon review stated that this was one of the best transfers that they had ever seen of a movie to a Blu-ray, and it did look actually really good. I'm not gonna lie.
I would actually tend to agree with Kyle.
I was like, what's going on here,
You're probably using those IMAX cameras, right?
dude? You never know, man. Right? You think
Shot it.
I'd see this in IMAX?
Kyle, Christopher Nolan ain't filming this movie.
The production quality of this was shockingly adequate.
Yeah.
And they don't even know what we're talking about.
We're already like hopping into.
They don't even
reviews.
know what we're
I know.
talking about.
There's multiple times I was like, where did they get the money for this? Like, where did they get the money for this shot? Like, are they legally allowed to be blowing that up here? Like, are they in someone's backyard?
I know.
There's definitely clearly one of them where I was like, are they going to set a forest on fire by doing that? Like, it's crazy.
The trees were on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Find out some endangered species of tree. It's like, lit it up. We're like, oh, great, man. Way to go.
Since we last recorded, we had a rhythm there for a while, and then it's become a little bit more staccato.
A little choppy. Choppy
yeah.
waters.
We missed out on a lot of sub news. I had a lot of people,
Oh my God.
of people reaching out to me asking my take on things, and
What a time to be off the air. We could have been doing live podcasts. We could have been doing not live
24/7
We could have.
something, yeah.
It was relevant because I went back and I was listening to old podcasts. And in one of them, I asked you, Kyle, like, would you ever, if someone came up to you and offered you a trip down to the Titanic or down into the Marianas Trench in one of those submarines, would you take it? And you said, yes, you would. And I said, no, because I wouldn't do it because I'm afraid and I'm a coward. But
Yeah.
look who's looking pretty good right now.
I
Dude,
probably would have.
I would be
went down.
nationally, internationally recognized. This podcast would explode. Sorry, it would
Implode.
not implode. It would explode. It would be huge because everybody would be like, that guy said he would do it. That guy watches all those movies and he's dead now.
Yeah. No, I mean, really?
But here I am.
That would have been crazy. Probably they would have called us up to be interviewed by like the New York Times and stuff like that.
Yeah. They'd be like, what's wrong with that guy?
Because
Why
they'd
did
be
he
like,
go?
okay, these two rich people, this explorer, then a host of a very little known podcast.
BGSU grad, Kyle Smith.
Yeah.
I watched
He's lived in the Midwest his whole life, barely seen the ocean. Be like, all right, man. Get him on there.
I watched a little mini documentary of a guy that went on Mission 3. So this was Mission 5 that was the catastrophic failure, but Mission 3, guy was on the drop ship that was, operating to go down to the Titanic and whatnot, and they didn't go down due to weather and whatnot going on. And some other thing that went wrong with the submersible at that time. But just him making that video like a couple weeks ago, like I I may have dodged, a very, ill fate. That video got like 4 or 5 million views at the time that I watched it.
Our podcast, Kyle. Why couldn't you have been on that submarine?
I know. I'm sorry, guys. Would have been my legacy, right?
Think about our children.
Our legacy.
Think about our unborn children, Kyle.
Think about my born children. Would have been like, yeah, that was my dad. Idiot.
Made us tons of money though.
Hey, every one of your kids could get a submarine tattoo in your memory though. Like that'd be
great. Yeah.
Oh man.
How have we not all gotten submarine tattoos?
I don't know. We should.
Yes, we should.
I don't have any tattoos, so this would be the first one that I would get.
I would get this in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. I got nothing to lose anymore. That sounds like no.
Kyle's on sabbatical, guys.
I'm on sabbatical, man. Brahma's inspired me. I left my regular paying job to just relax for a while, figure some stuff out.
Following the Brahm model.
Going all in on the Brahm model. He had me send him like $10,000, and he says he's giving me some kind of package on how to follow the Brahm model. But he keeps asking me for another $10,000.
I'm gonna pay out. I'm gonna pay out $20,000. That's how it works.
Oh, sure.
And everyone else, he just got $20,000. So you guys should give me $10,000, and you'll get $20,000 next month.
Wait, we have to rope more people in?
Pyramid scheme
cast. Is that how it's going?
Yeah.
Well, we have to get 3 more people to give us $20,000 each, and then we're rolling, right?
Right. I'm not telling you to tell your friends, but I mean, if you do, they're going to get $20,000 next month if they give me $10,000 this month.
Please, no listeners send us any money like that. I don't want any part of that.
I don't think we have the PayPal set up anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do we? I can't remember. Anyways. Should we get into this?
I think so.
Yes.
I think we
should. We absolutely should.
Dive! What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the 8th wonder of the modern world. Mac East Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, the artist formerly known as Brahm, Jamie the Ointment, Kyle El Capitan, and the Gruesome Twosome present Submersion. All right, we have been talking about this movie a little bit, alluding to some things, some risque things with this movie. Also lighting trees on fire, maybe crazy budgets, maybe just cans of Tannerite blowing up, having a good time. Anyways, I had never heard of this director before in my life. Jamie said, "Hey, Kyle, I watch all kinds of movies."
I mean, they may be of the bad variety.
I don't know what to call these. But we can get into that later.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys. Who wants to take it away? What did we watch here?
Zach.
Well, we watched the amazing sequel of the film Day of the Warrior. We watched Return to Savage Beach.
Yeah.
An Andy Sidaris film.
Yeah.
It related to Amy.
And I want to say this is the last film, right?
This is the last one. Yeah.
1998.
He passed away in the early 2000s, but this was the last film that they did. It was his.
He died March 7th, 2007.
Oh yeah, and so, but he had a total of 12 movies, I believe. Although I don't know, it's hard to tell. 2 of the movies seem to be listed under his son's name as director, and then there are 3 other movies that don't fall under the purview of like the Sidaris grouping. So he had some earlier 70s kind of not so exploitation films. Like they're a little bit more or a little less exploitation than the one we watched today, and the series of 12 that all fit together is kind of they fall into the banner Triple B, Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, and they all kind of get grouped together with those. It's the last of the 12.
Last of them.
And you guys never saw any of them, but Kyle, you watched, was it Day of the Warrior?
I have fully watched 2. So when you mentioned this one, I did watch the first one, Savage Beach, which came out in 88 or 89. And then I watched it because I thought this was going to be a direct sequel, but then I didn't realize there's this entire Andy Sidaris universe at work here until you watch this and somebody's like, hey, we put you in prison. Right. And then like it shows all these clips back. I'm like, what's going on with that? I'm like, that's another movie.
Yeah, that was Day of the Warrior. And it's like basically like Fast and the Furious. Like I think it's like bad guys becoming good guys becoming bad guys, and they just kind of keep on building the cast. And this is the ultimate culmination. This is basically Fast 10 or whatever you'd say it is. Fast 12. I guess this is kind of like the 12th one, which maybe will end the Fast and Furious franchise as well.
This is the Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
but better, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyways, it stars Julie Strain as Willow Black, Rodrigo Obregon as Rodrigo Martinez. That is like something that if I was ever in a movie, I'd have to have.
Kyle.
They'd be like, Kyle, what's your character's name? It's Kyle, all right? Because I'm not a pro. You got to call me by my name. That's who I am. Every character, they're like, we don't want that name.
But what if you got tapped for a biopic of Jesus Christ? Would you still have to get that in the contract?
They're like, Kyle.
It's a nickname.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Call me Kyle.
People are like, what?
Kyle Christ.
People would see that. Anyway, so it also has Julie K. Smith as Cobra, Shae Marks as Tiger, Marcus Bagwell as Warrior, Cristian Letelier as J. Tyler Ward, Carrie Westcott as Sophia, Paul Logan as Doc Austin.
Does anybody have a favorite character?
I will say, but before we get even to favorite characters, there is, you know the character Harry the Cat, the guy that kind of comes and goes a little bit?
Harry the Cat?
Yeah, Harry the Cat. Yeah.
Kevin Eastman?
Kevin Eastman. Do you know who Kevin Eastman is?
I do not.
He is the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Whoa, that's cool.
He like
what is he doing in this?
So he was married.
He's a co-creator, right?
He's a co-creator. There's 2 of them. He was married to Julie Strain at the time.
Who was Harry the Cat? Was he the radio station?
Yeah, he was a radio station
guy. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of weird, right?
Yeah,
that's really weird. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and
it's
just it's a super coincidence because me and Patrick, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a website. It's called badmovietwins.com. It's badmovietwins.com, and we just watched The Secret of the Ooze and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 on the website. So that's why I was like, wait,
wow,
Kevin Eastman.
People should check that out. Is
that the one where they go to back in time, like are they in China or something like that?
It's Japan. Feudal Japan.
The samurai one?
Okay.
Yes, it's the samurai one.
Turtles in Time thing.
Well, Turtles in Time, so it's kind of weird because Turtles in Time is a video game. Technically, I don't think the movie has that subtitle.
Mm-mm.
That game is amazing.
I remember seeing that
game
one.
is 10 out of 10.
I saw that one in Port Jefferson. No, not Port Jefferson. God, what's the? I'm not good with names this weekend.
Port Jefferson.
The place, Zach, heading towards the lake.
Bell Fountain?
No, between Anna and the lake.
Jackson Center.
Yes.
I love this type of podcast.
This is the podcast. Actually, this is our new podcast.
This is the podcast. But the theater, I went and saw it with my dad, and there were bats flying around the whole movie.
You're in the theater?
Yeah. When I was a child.
Oh my gosh.
Sure
and it's still there. The theater is still open, and they still have like one movie.
It's like, $5 or something? Super cheap.
This is when
it's too expensive.
This is when they flash back to like 89 or whatever, and they're like, Batman's coming out. This is going to be a big one. Here we go. Years later, they still can't get rid of the bats.
Yeah. Like doves at a wedding. Oh my gosh. So there's bats flying around in the theater, and I imagine your dad, you're probably like, hey, what was that? Nothing. We are not leaving. We are watching this Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtle
we'd
movie.
go. I don't understand why we would go there, but it was just the budget option, and like we didn't need to be going to the budget theater out in the sticks, just filled with bats in the theater. But that was my childhood, and it built character, I guess.
Yeah, man. Built maybe like a rabies resistant.
Ooh, yeah.
If such a
Good
thing
times.
exists. Don't nobody
Don't
attempt
try
that.
that. Don't try that.
So
All
we
right.
were talking favorite characters, right? I have
right,
to
right,
throw
right.
I have to throw mine out there. Mine is definitely, who is this guy? Marcus Bagwell.
Yep.
Yeah,
Warrior.
Warrior.
Warrior. So Marcus Bagwell's Buff Bagwell, wrestler, like
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
former wrestler and everything. So it's hilarious that he's in this. It's like that's like his same exact persona of the character is like in the movie, which is hysterical. But then this guy's had a real bad rap as of late. And I don't know do we want to dip into that, or do we want to save that after the review?
Well, I was going to say I have some trivia, but we can dip into that because
This guy's been hurting. This guy's been hurting.
I was gonna say
that.
he's my favorite character, but I'm a little nervous now.
You go ahead. You go through that, and I'm gonna conclude it with the most horrifying fact of them all about the Warrior.
Okay. I mean, we don't have to jump back too far, but just back in 2012, I saw 14 years to the same day that he suffered a broken neck, he was seriously injured in a car accident in 2012. And then that jumped to a lot of back and forth surgeries and shit. But then in 2020, he got in another car accident on pills. And then in 2021, he got in another car accident and was arrested on 5 charges: speeding, hit and run, giving a false name and address to a law enforcement officer.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So
the
this
most
guy-
horrifying thing.
Just,
that was
just
20
giving a fake name.
That was
How the mighty
2021.
have fallen.
That very same year, he hit such rock bottom that he started a podcast, Rebuilding Buff. I don't know if it's still going on. I didn't check. All I'm seeing, I was just seeing it there.
Is this legit? Please tell me it's
That is
legit.
not a Zach fact. That's a Jamie fact right there. Yes, I mean, I don't know. Should I check? I'm going to check real quick. Just see
In
what
the
episode he's on.
Buff Bagwell.
Rebuilding Buff. Let me
Oh
just
my
search it.
God. Oh no! I'm looking at it right there. Yeah, on Wikipedia. Yeah, in 2021, Bagwell started a podcast, Rebuilding Buff.
There it is, Rebuilding Buff. Let's see.
my God.
Michael
How many
Long,
episodes?
Bonus was 2022. So it ended. It seems to have ended in 2022. Buff brings in 2022. I don't know how many episodes. It looks like 25 episodes. And it
So we're beating him, huh?
I mean, he must have been rebuilt. He must have. I mean, it
Heck,
hasn't
it ended
ended
with him built.
Yeah, I mean, he was broken and now he's rebuilt. So congratulations to Buff Bagwell.
Would we say that we're more culturally relevant than that podcast? Because we've been going for more years?
Yes,
Maybe podcast wise, but
if you if you shot our podcast to aliens and his podcast to aliens, I'm voting our podcast.
Okay.
I think the aliens would.
That's
like
a great
this-
metric.
I love this because you just found out that he even has a podcast.
Yeah, and I
You
don't have to
really even
listen
know
to one
what it's
episode.
about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't.
If
have
you're listening to our
don't have to.
podcast right now, you know more about our podcast than Buff Bagwell's podcast.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm
Brom's
confident
face
we can
was-
take down that motherfucker. Love you, Buff.
Interesting.
Friend of the show.
Dang. Yeah,
Friend of the show.
I'm going to separate the art from the artist. He was my favorite character as well.
Mine too. I was going to say the same thing. He was my favorite.
Mine. Yeah. Yep.
Mostly because at the time when one of the ladies asked, don't you ever look for love or find love or want to find love? And he said, yeah, about 3 or 4 times a week.
Yep. That was my favorite line.
Love it.
Oh,
And their sex scene was, I think, the best sex scene of them all.
I would
we can grade that
disagree.
later. We don't have to go
I
into
would
it now.
disagree.
Really?
We'll talk about those later.
Okay.
Let's get in. Let's get into the review.
Oh, no, you're right. Actually, I have a better one in mind as well. What's my favorite one?
Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about.
That was the craziest shit in the world. I was laughing my ass off at that scene.
Oh my god! There's. So,
Oh, we have to get
I
into
watched
it.
this movie
Yeah.
twice.
All right. There's not much to the plot, so we can get into it because there's not much to the plot. It's
Dude,
It's
but
basically
it is important here, Jamie. It is important because we start seeing like a rocket launch. We're like, what's going on with that? They make a big deal that there's a satellite going into outer space, and basically all the satellite's going to do is stream information from a sextrologist in Hawaii to these briefcases with very large satellite dishes inside them for codes.
Yep.
To all of our agents. I don't know why this had to be a central point.
I don't know either, and I also I couldn't tell if I couldn't remember if the beginning. I got such as I went through the plot became very clear at a certain point, but I couldn't remember if the beginning had anything to do with the rest of the plot. Because like in the end, what we learn is we have agents in like LA, agents in Dallas, and then Hawaii, and basically they're using these satellites to like coordinate and like let people know what to do. And there's going to be like a drop or like there's like bad guys going to, was it Dallas, the first one? Guys, you're going to have to help me in this beginning.
Yeah. So it's so funny because like some of the exposition and explanation of things just gets like really into it here. So somebody's like staring in the camera. They're like, these terrorists are smuggling weapons from China through the heart of Mexico into the United States. And they're like, we got to stop them. And they're like, dun, 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 dun. Boat chase ensues with the Vindicator. They make sure to call, they're like, the terrorists have the Vindicator.
Yeah, and they were like,
what is that?
Apparently this wasn't
just
supposed to happen,
speedboat
right?
says Vindicator on it.
And it wasn't supposed to happen.
it.
It was like they seemed totally surprised, like, shit, I got the Vindicator. Like it was supposed to not. They weren't supposed to be able to get it, but then they were able to get it, and they were all like upset about
Because
it.
they left the keys
I
in
know.
it. That like a public dock.
That boat chase was the lamest boat chase in the
I don't
history.
know. So the only thing I will say,
anything I've seen.
they
with
were
those
on jet skis. They were on jet skis.
It was so lame.
And that's
They
got to be
never
harder.
Dude.
That's harder
even
than
got
it
inside
looks.
the wake. They like never even got inside the wake. It was
No, but
ridiculous.
they went into that bridge.
All right.
They went into that bridge though.
Now,
Remember the bridge?
Yeah, that bridge.
Which was there like windows or something? And that was a weird shot, right? That looked weird.
It was weird.
The distance.
Because
If
then
by
when they
weird you
turned
mean
it out,
beautiful,
it was just like
yes.
they were like a flat lake. And you're like, there's like flat land all around. I'm like, where was that?
Exactly. It's asking you, like the visuals are making you ask questions. It's beautiful. Very
are.
good.
And I
Sidaris.
think something that should be said right here is if you watch a lot of these scenes, right? I think we talked about like where's the budget coming from in some of this. I don't think they're budgeting for stunt people. I think they got a lot of these
That's
people
what I
doing
was
their own
saying. They were
stuff.
straight up on all those stuff, and I was saying I was impressed. I was like, I wouldn't be able to jump on a jet ski and like do all the moves they were doing. It also did seem a little dangerous at times. Like I almost felt like at one point one of them almost went to the pylon of the bridge. I think that would have been like a real bad scene right there. That would not have been good.
Yeah.
But
There's like dirt bike scenes
I
too
know.
where they're like, lay them down real quick. I'm like, all right. I mean, this is them doing it,
Yeah.
I guess. Whatever.
There's
This is how you want to do it,
There's
You're
the
gonna do a
one
movie.
adult actress that was riding the ATV. She like ramped up one thing, like high speed, like chasing down the guy's bike. I'm like, man, she must have a really good center of gravity in those things.
All right, it's been
Anyways.
25 minutes.
So anyways, they end up cornering the people. They blow them up, which is very typical, although not in the way that becomes the most typical way of blowing them up. In this case, they just shoot the gas canisters in like the car or whatever, right?
Well, Shae Marks uses an explosive tipped
There
arrow
we go.
because everything she touched explodes, as she said.
Very nice.
And then they blow up the Vindicator.
They're not very happy about that, but they
that was
they
a
did
nice
it.
looking
It's
boat.
necessary. Yeah.
It looked great, They just blow it up.
Yeah.
Which this is immediately where you're like, where are they getting the money for this movie, right? Just
Yep.
blow up a boat.
Yep. Exactly. You're like, okay, that was like this. What do they just go get a giant can of gas and just dump it in the boat, or just
And then right after this, we basically cut to Jamie's probably favorite part of the movie, where we have somebody else getting and so pretty much any time that a situation is about to unfold with any of our lethal agents, that's what they're called, are like female secret agents going out, kind of like Charlie's Angel-ish type
The
style.
I
Legion-
like how
Legion
the
to ensure-
exposition lady, the sextrologist, like explained what lethal stood for. She's like, here's like reminding the girls like what the acronym stands for. I'm like, oh my
lethal is a legion to ensure total harmony and law.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, anytime you're about to see what they're doing, like there's a scene of them pretty much getting dressed.
Yep.
And for whatever reason,
Yeah, reason we can't really
just
comprehend
adds
why.
to the movie.
Yeah.
So, anyways, then we see somebody else getting ready to go deliver some pizzas on roller skates.
This is my second favorite scene is upcoming, because then she goes down and she's heading to Lethal headquarters. She gets up there and she's basically like, "Oh, hey," to like a security guard, like, "Do you want any pizza?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is not suspicious at all." And then he like takes some pizza and stuff like that, and it's all drugged, so he ends up getting drugged. And then she goes in and there's two ladies at the front desk. And one of them's just a young lady, and another one is an elderly person. And they give them pizza, and they have a very long scene of them getting served pizza and then eating the pizza. This old lady is just like, thank you. And she's like, what am I watching? Why is this happening? But anyways, the point is that she knocks out everyone in Lethal. They basically, the whole sting. Oh yeah, I guess this is it.
All three of them.
Yeah, the sting that had been set up, or like the thing that had been set up, was just a ruse to get the agents out of the way so that no one was in the office. Then she was able to go in and she is able to copy a disc that is
floppy disk
that is telling them the way to Savage Beach. And what they explain is that Savage Beach has some gold and jewels from the Filipino government. That I guess was hidden by the Japanese government during the war or something a long time ago. And it basically, the disc is going to help you find which uncharted island in the Pacific this gold and jewels have been buried. So she takes that disc and off she jets. And the agents hear, the Lethal headquarters was hit. They go in and they're like, that's weird. Like, what is this Savage Beach? What are they? They're kind of explaining the plot of the previous film, right, Kyle? Like Savage Beach. They're kind of going through some of the beats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They pretty much just recap the entire movie there. They even show clips directly from it. Mm-hmm. And then some of it was just so funny because Tyler is talking, right, and just going on and just like staring down. What's her name in that? Tiger or something? Yeah, He's just staring down Tiger. And he's like, and my father gave me this gold medallion, but I took a book that he gave me along with several other personal belongings and put it in a safe house in Dallas, Texas, or whatever. And you're just like, what? LA, yeah. Why did you say it like that? Why did you talk about the other personal belongings? So they do that. And something was really funny too, because they're like, wait, that means that the terrorists were set up. Or no, that means we were set up. He's like, but the terrorists were set up too, because we took them out so easy. Bang, bang. It's like, wait, what? Who talks like that?
They do. And agents do. Are we secret agents, Kyle?
You're right. We're not. So I guess I don't understand it.
Yeah. We don't. It's just, this is the way of the world of secret agents, and we're just not privy to it. But thankfully, we have this movie to let us know how secret agents talk.
And I've got my notes here. It's so funny because like the transition just makes no sense.
Yeah, the transition also, here is the craziest transition, I believe. Like
we literally have other agents out in LA, right? And every agent, it's like a couple, right? Yeah. You got the guy and the girl, and so the guy is like, man, it's so cool that you're an undercover stripper, and she's like, yeah. And I don't know if they ever explain it, but then they just cut to this scene.
A strip scene, yeah.
Of just stripping.
Yeah.
And then she just like walks off and he like takes her out. Like nothing happens other than that it is just stripper scene.
Yeah. And then we also, in here we get a bunch of other like kind of random scenes, because we also get our bad guy, Rodrigo Martinez. He's got his like mask on, and the agent who delivered the pizza or whatever, she's bringing him the floppy disk. And that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense at that point. Later, I think it cuts, and then later they kind of pick up the scene to kind of explain how they need to get the second disc and some of these other things. Yeah. But like, it's here, this transition is like super choppy. There's like a bunch of random scenes, and they're just saying kind of like one thing, and then they move to the next. To finally get to, and people are jetting all over the place too. Like I think like the people from Dallas go to LA and then back to Dallas or something. Like it's like kind of this crazy set of circumstances. They fly into LA. They end up picking up the disc in the diary or whatever, and then I think they head back to Dallas.
And that's where the bike chase ensues.
Yeah. Because then they basically need to get the bad guys need to get the second disc, because the second disc is the key to getting everything together. And basically they don't really know yet how to get it, but they know it's with this diary. And at that point, they get hijacked, or they get kind of surprised, and these people grab the disc from them or the diary from them in this bag, and off they jet. And this started off, I mean, this was kind of the time when you really get a good sense of what Sidaris is all about in terms of killing people. Not only are there exploding arrows, but he seems to like remote control cars. It's like I guess it's a common theme. This is not the only film where an agent uses a remote control car to blow up someone. So they basically chase everyone around. And I think one of them does use an exploding arrow, but the other one uses a remote control car to basically explode the person in a very good effect.
Think anybody who's a fan of Call of Duty, right? You know the RCXD kill streak, which is a remote control car with a bomb on it. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, we've got multiple RCXD kills in this movie.
Yeah, multiple. Not even the only one.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's pretty great.
Right?
And then so at this point, then they were all like together trying to figure out what to do with it, because they're like, oh yeah, they tried to get our thing.
They go to Hawaii.
Yeah, they all jet off to Hawaii, and there were a bunch. Every scene is basically intercut with a sex scene. And at this point, when does Warrior come in? Warrior comes in around now too, right?
Warrior comes in now, yeah. So he flies in, and
because
he meets up with
he's
Black
gonna
Willow.
He's like the agent from France or whatever who's gonna be coming in, and he explains basically he used to be a bad guy in the previous one, so they have to go through this whole explanation. He's like, hey, what are you doing here? You were a bad guy. I stopped you, and he's like, no, don't worry. The person I killed wasn't actually an agent of the government. Turned out that was a serial killer. And I got a commendation for it. I'm sitting there being like, I don't think that's how murder works. I don't think if it turns out the person you murdered was a bad person, you don't go to jail. Right? Am I wrong about this?
That should be how it works, right? Yeah, it's sure. What I did was egregious, but like
turned out he was a pretty bad guy.
Yeah,
because they showed the whole scene.
Got him.
That's such a bonkers concept. I would love. You could, honest to God, make a really interesting movie with that concept in mind. Like you really, because then you could be like, people would be intentionally trying to make other people look like bad guys. Dead. You could get really creative with it.
Yeah, but what about this, Zach? What about like a serial killer, but he only kills serial killers? What about that one?
What, like Dexter?
What? They've already made this? What? My $1 million idea. What am I going to do? Staked all my money in my serial killer movie. So anyways, where were we? They all are collecting now. Warrior's the best. He's like the best character by far. He's like so bulky. It's incredible. They even comment on how bulky he is sometimes. So like, you're like huge. He's like, yeah, I am. And then,
dude, that line was so weird though, right? When they first meet up, I didn't like, maybe it went over my head, but she's like, what, did you cut your hair? Or no, you look different. He's like, yeah, I cut my hair. You like touch it. He's like, close to the wood.
Yeah.
It's like, what does that mean?
What does it mean? Kyle?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, is he implying that he like cut off all his pubes too?
No, I think it's just like trimming trees, right? Close to the wood.
Anyways, so now we have everyone paired up.
There we go.
So Willow is now paired up with the Warrior, and we have the other two couples as well. We got they're all grouped together, and they're basically saying, okay, we gotta. Oh, and they figure out what the disc is all about. They end up seeing in the diary that a second disc has been enclosed there. They put it together. They know where Savage Beach is, and they say, okay, we gotta get there. We gotta get there fast because the bad guy's gonna be coming. And the bad guy, even at the same time, is like, it's too bad we don't have it. We still need to get it. They're going to be so surprised when they get there because we're going to get there too, and we're going to have like a big old battle. And the person's like, yeah. And so then they're like, okay, we got to fly over there. And one of the guys seems to not be into the water, like, or being in the water or something like that. Because like, then the two women are like, no, we have to be the ones who pilot the plane because we're lighter. You guys are too bulky to be in the plane. And one of the guys seems like nervous about being on the boat. And the other guy says to this one guy, like, don't worry, I'm your partner in water sports, like anytime or something. And I was like, what this phrasing is so weird. Why are they saying these things?
The phrasing.
They're
so
secret
I'm going to
agents,
throw
guys.
out. So something I made a note about that I really wanted us to discuss. We'll just use it now because that's pretty much what it encompasses is the phrasing. Like how intentional is the phrasing in this movie versus it's just god awful, and it just happens to flow like in some ridiculous manner. Like
I think it's got to be somewhat intentional. Although I wonder if it became more intentional over time, because what makes me think that, and I wouldn't have said it until I saw the end of the movie, but the end of the movie here makes me think that Sidaris was starting to kind of know what he was up to, and not just be like, fooling around, like that there was a purpose to some of the stuff that they were doing. And we'll get to the end, but like the end is very clearly
maybe
like a joke, and they make a joke about it. But
some of it is just so.
Well, there's a lot of explanation. There's like
bizarre.
there's far too much explanation at certain points as they kind of like, whatever. And then they'll go from like a long explanation scene and then straight into like a ludicrous sex scene. Because even before they head off, now they're heading off to Savage Beach, right? The two women fly off. The two guys, they're heading off to their boat, but they get jumped, and the disc is stolen away, and one of the guys is like kidnapped as well. And we'll find out why. It's the guy who had the medallion around his neck. Hint. But the other guy, they don't kill the other guy. They're like, oh, let that person tell them what happened here today. And I'm like, what? All right, fine. I'm not sure why, but okay, sure. Why not?
I feel like they exist kind of at like two poles deliberately, like you're alluding to. Like there's all this exposition that then allows them to just be like, here's an excuse to have just a scene with just a bunch of tits.
Yeah. I know, because like in the middle of this, Willow and Warrior, they're like, basically it's like, oh, we this is really urgent. We have to get to Savage Beach. And Willow is like, hey, Warrior, come with me. And Warrior goes on and goes like, hey, do you ever wish you like met a girl? And he's like, 3 or 4 times a week, AO. And then they just have a sex scene. And it was basically the best sex scene, I think. Right, guys? Everyone agrees? Warrior best?
I do not agree.
Oh, okay.
I do not agree.
Well, we'll get to it at the end.
For me, well, that one, the one that I'm talking about happened much earlier.
Oh, what was that one? Which one was theirs?
That is the one between Rodrigo and the pizza delivery agent, where they're literally they're just dancing, right? He's behind her. They got their hands interlocked, and they're all clothed, and they're dancing. And then it just cuts, and she takes her clothes off, and then they're doing the same thing, just dancing.
See, that's my vote.
Oh, she's topless.
Yes,
it's absolutely ridiculous. I can't even. Like,
I was
what
losing
I described it doesn't sound real.
Yeah,
this is so softcore. It's great. It's just like.
Was that your favorite one as well, or did you have a different vote for your favorite?
No, that was my favorite too.
Okay, I got a different one, so I'll save it because mine comes at the very end, just for context, just and where it comes from out of nowhere. It's like pretty great. But anyways, everyone's heading up to Savage Beach. The other people have the disc. They head off into finally our submarine scene. The way they're going to get to Savage Beach is by going in a submarine. They use the Atlantis 4, I believe it was, which Kyle will talk about. I'm not going to step all over his subs worldwide here, but it's a Hawaiian submarine, and that's not a joke. It is actually a Hawaiian submarine, and they climb into it. And off they go. And later on, they say, oh, great idea. They're so smart because we can't track anything underwater. And so basically, they have this big satellite, but they can't see anything underwater. So the submarine's able to get out to Savage Beach. No big deal. Everyone kind of like gets together at the same point. The two women are there, and they kind of like find the treasure. Like, oh, we found the treasure. Oh, this is really hard. We can't do this ourselves. We have to wait for backup. In the meantime, why don't we go for a swim? And they have kind of like not a sex scene, I guess. They just kind of swim naked together. I wouldn't call it a sex scene, but it's a sexy scene.
Yeah,
it's a sexy scene.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't know why, because like they've been doing all kinds of other stuff, like no issues, and it's so funny because when the other members of the team finally arrive and they're showing it, I mean, it's like what? 2 inches under the dirt?
That's like nothing.
I'm like, come on, guys.
And they find it and they brush it off and they go, great, we have this. Then all of a sudden the bad guys show up and they're a few ninjas, the secret agent that we saw before, and then whatever. And this was a really funny scene because then, he basically is all tied up, the one guy with the medallion, and he's like, click, and he like steps on a branch purposefully so everyone knows that he's there. Then he just starts kicking the shit out of people. And the way he's like moving around, I was like, wow, this is like so funny looking. He's just like basically tied up, but he's like having to like swing his feet all around, kicking these ninjas. I know, man. Then it only gets funnier because then he's kicking all these ninjas, and the ninjas are like, oh man, he's like really good with his, feet. He's really like kicking really good. And so they just turn around and pull out guns. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a ninja like in a movie pull out a gun like that. Where all of a sudden they're like, whoa, okay, you can't take this guy. Gun time.
Jamie, I'm so glad you said that because I made a note of that exact moment where it's just like, it's the old joke like, oh, you brought a gun to a knife fight, but it's just like these ninjas are kicking ass, and he's just like, fuck it, and just gets his gun out. And like,
he shoots the guy in the chest, the medallion guy in the chest, and then they kind of run away at that point. And the other people chase after them, and this is where we get the second remote control explosion, remote control car explosion, and the other explosive arrow kill. And they kill the ninjas, and they come back, and they're about to be like, get a gun. They're going to kill the secret agent too. But she's like, no, guys, I'm Interpol. And she shows the badge. She's like, I've been working like undercover against Rodrigo Martinez, and you got to help me because the bullet hit his medallion, but he's still seriously injured. And he's like, oh, I was so hurt. Oh, it really hurts. Get me up. And then he gets up. Yeah. Then he gets up, and he's perfectly fine. But they open up the thing, and there's a bomb in the treasure, and they're like, oh my god! And it's like it's going to go off in 2 minutes unless you fit the medallion in there. But the medallion's been hit by this bullet. And then we have literally a 2-minute scene of them trying to file down this bullet. And it's like, quick, file down the bullet.
That is one of my favorite scenes we've ever had on this series.
And they're like, oh, file it down. And they file it down a little bit, and they put it in. It's like, still not working.
They tried it like 4 times. Just this girl filing at this medallion. Like, they had to have known what they were doing.
Had to.
It was so stupid.
It was the dumbest thing.
And the voice. There's a voice on the bomb, too.
It's like
there's
30 seconds.
And it's like screaming.
20 seconds.
It's like 20 seconds until the entire world is blown up. And
there is absolutely no way you can disarm this any other way. It's like, what is happening?
All things that are all living things within a 2 mile. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, how intentional was that versus how fucking crazy is it?
Well, I don't know. Because in one sense you'd say, okay, intentional because it's like very funny what they did, right? But then the awkwardness of the moment after they get the medallion in there, you're like, this can't be real. Because it's like, it's almost like the camera kept on rolling and they were waiting for them to say cut. And it's like, oh man, that was really tough. That was a really tough scene for us. That was really hard. That one was close. Ooh, man.
Even the voice on the bomb at a final thing is like, you have successfully disarmed the bomb. There was only 4 seconds remaining. Good job.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy. And this gets to my...
Dude, that's just good programming, all right? That it can tell you all that stuff. That's... Computer programmer's great, man.
But then this gets to my favorite sex scene, which is essentially two of the characters
out of control.
2 of the characters go off to the side, and they're like, "Oh man, this is like, really great job, like really good. Oh, like, what are you thinking of? Like, what are you thinking about right now?" And he kind of like saying, like waggling with his eyebrows, kind of being like, "What am I thinking?"
She's like, "Are you? Oh, this. You're right. This is my favorite scene."
And then it's just like,
"Are you having a fantasy?
Yeah, are you having a fantasy? And then they flash to a fantasy of him. Basically, I guess role-playing of sorts. He's a robber going to try to steal stuff from a cash register, and then she pops up as a police officer behind him, and it's like, stick him up. And then there's a whole sex scene of them as her being the police officer and him being the robber. And I'm just like, what is that?
I kept waiting for their sex scene because you knew it was coming in some way. You were gonna see him bang.
He got cock blocked earlier in the episode.
He got cock blocked a few times actually.
It was.
I feel like they were ready a few times.
The transition was phenomenal.
Oh my god!
And then it cuts back from the fantasy, and she jingles a pair of handcuffs, and he's like, "Yep, you know my fantasy.
You got it." And I was like, this is out of control. Because then you think this is the end of the movie, right? They beat Martinez or whatever. All they have to do is go and arrest him. No, we got like 20 minutes left. This isn't even close to finished because they get in and they're going to do a sting operation against Martinez, and they send in the Interpol agent in there, and they're like, "Okay, we're coming in 10 minutes if you don't come back." I'm like, why would you even give them the real jewels? But this is besides the point. They go in, she goes in, she has got the jewels. Martinez is like, basically like, I got a gun. Or basically, she's like, I got a gun. And he like knocks out of her hand, subdues her, puts her in the corner. And then all the agents come in and he's like, come in, agents. Then they go in an incredibly long-winded story where...
Oh, my word.
He's just talking about, I was stranded on the island. And this was all stuff. Was this shown in the original Savage Beach?
So most of the stuff was shown in the first one, right? Because when he showed up again in this one, I'm like, that guy's like, he died. Like that guy got blown up in a boat with a red can that said gas on it, right? Because that's like all the types of things in this, like big, huge white letters. But then he explains that he didn't actually die. Like he crawled out onto the beach,
Right.
and then all of that stuff, and then like he repairs a
repairs a
plane,
plane.
flies back to the Philippine government, and like they become best friends and all types of stuff. None of that was in
Did any
the
of you guys
first movie.
see Ant-Man and Quantumania?
No.
I did not.
Nope.
Okay. Well, for those who have, the listeners who have, essentially this scene is a Kang in Quantumania. So Rodrigo Martinez is Kang in Quantumania. He got stranded somewhere with a ship. He's very injured, and he's trying to repair it to get back and become an evildoer.
So is the MCU ripping off Andy Sidaris?
Everyone's ripping off Andy Sidaris.
I thought we've been over this. This
Spielberg.
is the original Endgame.
Yeah, this is Endgame.
yeah, you're right.
Spielberg ripped off Sidaris 100%.
Call of Duty ripped this off.
Call of Duty ripped it off. Yeah, everyone ripped it off.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, also at this time, so he gives this huge explanation to all the agents after they bust in because he has knocked out the Interpol agent, got her like tied up somewhere. And so he's trying to be like, all okay. Tiger comes up and is like, hey, could I pour you a glass of champagne? He's like, all right, sure.
Takes forever.
And then
takes forever to do this.
So she does that, right? And then hands it to him and then leaves, right? And
All the
he
way back to
doesn't
the boat.
care. He's just like, okay, whatever. Just goes out back out to the dock, which is nowhere near a building. Like sends a fax off. You're like, there's a fax machine on a boat? And I'm like, I guess this is the 90s. Maybe that's a thing. Who knows? Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Then she comes back in, and then this is like bigger than an M. Night Shyamalan
It's a
twist.
huge
You will
twist. Huge
never,
twist.
you will never see anything like this coming. Better than that Scooby Doo stuff.
This was. That's what it was like. That's what it was like.
Because literally, she goes up to him like, "This isn't actually Rodrigo Martinez."
They have a picture. The fingerprint led to a picture. They rip off a mask. They pull off a mask.
But that quarter second,
I know.
that quarter second, it's like I stopped and rewound that thing twice to see it because I'm like, this is fucking insane.
And then they're like, it's Rodrigo's nephew. Raul. Like, who the hell is Raul? He hasn't come up at all,
No,
man.
he's never been mentioned, never been anything. And then, of course, so they arrest him. He gets arrested, and then they keep on going. It doesn't even end here. And then they're all together and they're like celebrating. And then Rodrigo Martinez shows up, and he's got a little scar on his face. Sorry, he's got a little scar on his face, because one of the things they've revealed is like they revealed a mask and there's nothing underneath. There's no scar or anything underneath, and that's part of what like the reveal is. Even though you'd think the mask would be able to have a little scar in it, but like. And that's why he had to wear his little, like, Phantom of the Opera mask. But now Rodrigo Martinez shows up. He's got a little scar, but he's not ashamed of it. And he shows up and is basically like, hey, what's up? I'm Rodrigo Martinez. I didn't actually die. I'm also still a good guy. So the explanation is valid, what I said before, but it was really my nephew. And also, I'm, like, rich now. And also, do you want to come with me? And the Interpol agent's basically like, yeah.
Because like they have obviously had multiple
Kyle's glasses
love
are
scenes
fogged
together,
up.
or whatever. Right, dude, I'm laughing. Freaking Raul, man, it gets me every time. He's like, I feel like we've met before in another life. She's like, yeah. And they're just like, all right. And then Jamie, what do? What's next?
What do they do? Let's drink to that or whatever. Is that what they said?
Yeah.
It's
Something.
Oh my god, I put that in my notes.
Yeah, I did too. I said we all had to say it at the same time.
Well,
but now I'm forgetting what it was.
Well, I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. Yep.
And they do that all together. So basically,
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, and they even say it. This is what I'm saying. Like, they knew a little bit of what they were doing because one of the characters in this last scene says like, "How many endings is this movie gonna have, or how many endings is the story gonna have?"
Yeah.
Well, that's the theme song. It has its own theme song.
That's so funny because
Which ending does the story have?
dude, I was sitting there and I was just like, at first I was like, oh my god, the lyrics. Oh my god, like this is an actual song.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
James Bond-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, the people who did the music on this did the music for a lot of his films. Something to Lil.
Wild, man.
He made a bunch of original songs for this guy. Anyways, so that's Lethal Ladies Return to Savage Beach.
Crazy. Unreal.
Should we do some ratings? Or do we want to do...
Dude.
Does anyone have something that comes before ratings? I can't remember.
It's ratings time.
Ratings.
Time.
Yeah, it's ratings. Let's
jump
get into
in.
it.
I'm going to go second, I think. Just to mix it up,
I'll go third.
That's where you always go, Jamie.
What?
Third.
All right, and the captain brings up the rear. Then that leaves me.
All right.
I gotta say, guys, I was shockingly and wildly entertained by this film. I don't think I've ever watched like a softcore porno before. So this
Now, is that
go ahead.
is that what this is considered?
Yeah,
I have no
say
idea.
so. This is a late night movie in the vein of something like Bear Wench Project or something like that, right?
So I got to jump in here real quick and since like this exact topic, because this was an exact conversation. I was watching this with Ashlyn and she was just like, Zach, this is a porno. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, there has not been sex yet. But then when we had like the first bang and then the second bang and the third bang, and I was like, okay, now that's porn. Like this is pornographic, soft, yes, but you're not showing that at Christmas time.
This would be like Skinamax type stuff.
Skinamax.
Really?
Yeah.
But this is like, I feel like there's stuff on Netflix or whatever now, like maybe considered the stuff now that is more graphic than this.
Sure. I mean, you're thinking something almost like 50 Shades or something like that, or like a 365 series or whatever those things are.
I don't know what any of that you're talking about is. So.
What? I'm not going to say the After series because After series is very tame. It's very tasteful. But the other ones are, I mean, I think you're correct in that nowadays there are movies that are on these streaming services that are much more, I guess you'd say more explicit. This is almost like silly in its sex scenes. The sex scenes are kind of silly.
Yeah, and I mean, it was mainly just topless.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really show anything below the waist. And even the ass, like you saw, like when it was like an ass, it was like a thong. Like it was, like
Right.
it was truly just fake tits. Like
No dong.
no dong either.
But that's
penetration.
Skinamax. That's Skinamax. So like Bear Wench, all those ones that like kind of the parodies that would show up on Skinamax. This is definitely what this was. This was kind of like 90s exploitation, quote unquote, films that would air on late night cable, essentially.
Yeah, I was enjoying just how they were finding ways to get tits involved in the show. Like it would sometimes they would just lead to start the scene, like just pop to a new scene and saw a girl just like putting on her clothes and just like tits, just like filling up the whole screen.
Yeah, it does.
And then just immediately covering them up and everything. It
does make you
catching
wonder
me off guard.
again, just about like the purposefulness of it, because it does seem like the sex scenes became like increasingly tangential or outside of the plot. Like by the end, it's just a fantasy. It's like, what are you thinking about? And then just like a sex scene.
Exactly. That was the worst example of it. And even leading
Warrior,
up to it,
but
like
even the Warrior one, where they're in the middle of a dire situation, in the middle of a mission.
They're talking.
And it's like,
they develop their plan. Like, Warrior, follow me for a moment.
Yeah,
and I'm
hold
like,
on.
what is this gonna? Wait, I'm. My spidey senses are tingling. Is this going to be another sex scene?
Not the only thing tingling. Am I right, guys?
It was like so like sterile though. Like just just like the tits and everything. Like it wasn't like a sexual like watch. Obviously for me, it was just like hilarious. Just like how they're gonna get the tits on screen. I thought a really funny one too. You sort of mentioned it, but when they were like waiting for everyone to arrive to do the dig to like where they think they're gonna be able to find the treasure and everything, the two girls are there and they're like, "Well, it sounds like we got a few moments. Care to go for a swim?"
Yeah.
And they go for a swim, and it's them swimming. I'm like, there's no reason for these two girls to show their tits right now. How are they going to do it? And they just did. They just started taking their swimsuits off as they're swimming, and it's just like, there's no reason for this.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Brom. Yeah, ridiculous. Because then they just show them back on the beach.
Yeah, and then they go back to the beach. They got their skin tight white shirt on with the titty hard-ons going on and everything. Just the whole movie, just tits. It was so funny and just so pure in that regard.
They don't call it bullets, bombs, and babes for nothing.
It was just really funny. And it was an entertaining ride. There was some unfortunate, racism with Japanese going on here. They had the flashback to World War II Japan and everything. I was like, oh, this is not the place for this. And they had the guy that was doing the stereotypical, doing all that, like just really over the top. I'm like, there's a time and place for all of this, and it's really not in a softcore porno.
Dude, you remember that scene where they introduced that guy, Fu?
Yeah. He's doing the famous voice. And they got attacked by kabuki ninjas.
Yeah. We never saw them again.
No.
We never saw them at all until that point.
Yeah, they had different types of ninjas throughout the movie.
Yeah.
We had like the kabuki ninjas. We had like the contemporary kind of like all dressed in black ninjas.
Yeah.
And there was also
Those guys with the face paint are on the back cover of the Blu-ray case.
Regardless, we'll get to my rating here.
Yeah.
You got something, Zach?
No. I'll save it.
Just there was so much to take in with this film. I was shocked. Again, they were doing their own stunts and everything. Just so they were committed to the craft. It was fun. I'm going to give it a 5.
Wow. Yeah.
Damn, bro.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you.
I like
I'm
it.
coming in second.
Yeah.
Extremely entertained by this. I even was thinking like, okay, it's 3.5. Classic Steel Shark rating, right? That's the Steel Shark rating that we're doing. But Come on. What did Steel Shark have? It had a lucky coin. Sure, it's fun. It's got something going for it. But it's not this. I mean, this is like entertainment. This is pure, unadulterated and adulterated entertainment. So like, I'm into
Adult
it.
entertainment.
And I'm coming in. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, maybe I'll just go up to 4. No, I'm going full on 5 with Brom. I'm with you. 5.
Let's go. So
Return to Cyber
this is
Beach.
if we were in person, we could just grab
Predator
and get
high
that
five
big
together.
handshake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm jumping in here for number Trace. I'm hyped just talking to you guys about this. It's definitely throughout, hearing you guys laugh, hearing you guys joke about it, us kind of going around in circles like this, hearing the recap, talking through the highlights and the ridiculous parts of this film is growing my appreciation for it more. So I can tell you right now, I was gonna like trash this movie, thinking like this is like a literally 1.5. I would like burn it and shit on it before watching it. And but damn, that was actually kind of a fun ride. Now that we're talking through it and everything. I mean, really, those ridiculous parts are hysterical, and the goddamn the twist at the end with the mask is. I really did not see that coming. So I really paused it and rewound it. I was like, what the fuck?
Because how could you see that coming? You would never see that coming at all.
And in that way, it did something that no other movies really ever has. I mean, it's true. Like, it really motherfucking blindsided me like that. Like, that was insane. I think we hit on everything through the recap and through our general banter about the stuff that jumped out to me. I guess what I really wanted to bring up to Ben specifically too was like, did you get the same Lethal Weapon 5 vibes that I did? Like hardcore.
I didn't think of that. No, not at all. And now that you mention it, it's like so obvious to me. That is exactly what this is.
Frank's character with like the slow like
oh my gosh, yeah, he is totally Rodrigo.
And he's Rodrigo, and he's like lotioning up and he's moving slow around her. It's all awkward. Like I could not stop thinking about It's Always Sunny with Lethal Weapon 5. Huge. I would. God, I wonder if I'm sure they've probably seen these movies. They've probably joke about these movies. I thought it was funny at the end when like the big fight scene's going on and the two chicks, with the big tits, and they both of them like at separate times literally blow up human beings. Like they blow up the guys and they just go, yeah. And they just like
I agree.
Completely just like and keep going. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, she just literally blew up a human being. And
a human being was blown up in front of her and she's like, hell yeah, job well done.
Nothing at all about it. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, obviously it was ridiculous, but damn, it keeps getting there. They kept finding ways, to one up themselves. So Yeah. Well, I'll drink to that. That was the last note I put in my phone. Well, I'll drink to that. Cracked me up. So I guess I'm just gonna tag team it with all you boys. Triple. It's a 3-way 5. I'm giving it a 5. I'll do it a 5.
I got to say 2 things before Kyle gets in here. Jamie, you gave 1941 a 5 as well, and I feel like
that movie is trash.
I would watch this 100 times before I'd watch 1941.
You could watch this 100 times in the time it would take you to watch 1941.
That's true.
The time it took me to watch it.
I will say, I want to say, go, you do the second thing first. I was going to say one thing.
The other thing was the sextrology thing. I forgot there was a part where she made a call to the one team that was like, she's like, you're a Pisces and he's a Virgo. I need you guys to fuck right now or things are going to get in a very dangerous predicament. And so they had to leave to go fuck. Oh, okay. Sorry, that was it.
Wild.
And then before Kyle goes, I do want to mention, because everyone seems to be having such a grand time here, that, a lot of people know that actually the first film in this whole series, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, as kind of the cult film that kind of started. It's the one you hear about the most. Most of the other ones in this series you don't hear about too much, including this one and Savage Beach. But Hard Ticket to Hawaii, what's best known about it is a particular death. And you'll know the death if you watch the movie. But if you want to see a very humorous kill scene, Hard Ticket to Hawaii would be one to watch.
Dude, I might have to check that out then. Because I think from what I saw, most of these, probably all these Sidaris films are on Plex.
Yeah.
If you have Plex. But all right, I'll hop in here. I had very low expectations for this movie, like many of you guys, and like, holy shit, what was happening in here? Literally, I mean, when we talk about the ending, when they pull that face off, and it's his nephew Raul. It's just like, dude, where is this coming from? Like, nothing alluded to that at all. Like we're supposed to know who that even is, right? Like they say it like that's somebody you know. You're like, oh, okay. Well,
and it happens in such a way where it's like you could put that happening in any other movie ever. Like the guy could just be like, it's not me. It's like, what the fuck?
I would love that in literally anything, right? Can you imagine Lord of the Rings if like they're going to throw the thing and then Samwise pulls his face off? Oh, you've been Sauron, holy shit. Anyways, whatever. The explosions were great. I know we talked about that. I don't know where that stuff's coming from, where they're getting the money to do this. I mean, sure, they're not blowing up Rolls Royces or anything, but they're blowing up all kinds of cars. Looks like setting the Hawaiian jungle on fire, but I don't know. Blew up a boat. Anytime they blew up a body, though, I loved it because it reminded me of this video I made in college where I stuffed these jeans in like a sweater full of like pillows and stuff and like hit it with a car and like you'd see this body like fly, right? But there's no head or anything in it. So it's like, that's exactly what this is like. Absolutely incredible. Some of the explanations to me were just so funny with how you'd be like, that person's reading. Like they are reading off of something right now. They're not remembering that at all. Yeah.
His diction was crazy.
It was nuts.
So intense.
I know. Everything was so intense. I don't know, man. Crazy movie. And like I said, I did buy this because the person said that the transfer looked amazing. And so I did get to watch this upscaled to 4K on OLED. I was like, this looks really good. Shockingly good. And God, I really wanted to come in and give it like a 7, but I think like that seems really high. So I've watched it twice. All right. It took 1941 to me was terrible. You know, it took me like a lifetime to watch, but I have watched this movie twice so far.
I mean, Kyle, it sounds like you're talking yourself up higher.
7 might be too low.
I know, man.
I know.
You're right, man. Is this the best one ever? I don't know. The crazy scenes. Another thing that was crazy to me, right, is when the pizza delivery lady went in, she knocked everybody out, and then like took a really long time just to show you that like she was putting this dart into a gun, right? took an extremely long amount of time. And then when she left, the security guard woke up and she just shot him in the neck. Like literally, if she didn't pretty much, if she would have taken all that time to put the dart in, that dude wouldn't have even woke up. She would have been gone.
I laughed at that too, Kyle. That was
I thought the same thing. I'm like, well, I figured she was saving that for something more important than the guard.
It's like, that's it. It was just a minute and a half for a 4-second payoff.
Kyle, did you ever post the scene?
I haven't yet. I'll get that.
Do that for advertisement.
I'll get that online.
It's the sexiest scene in the whole movie. So,
and dude, I gotta say, like, I also, back to our earlier conversation, I was working on how to like blur images and stuff because I was trying to get the trailer so I could post this to our social media, so it can be viewed, right? I don't want to post like just porno, yeah. So I was looking how to blur images and all that stuff, and I was working on that, and I sent that to my sister, and she's like, "Is this a porno?" It's like, I don't know. No, but I guess based on these conversations,
it is funny how the reaction is like, "No, wait, it's not right."
I know. And I was like, if I have to stop and think about it, probably is. But anyways, whatever, man. This is just a fun, ridiculous movie, and like it literally made me watch other ones of his. And I'll say Savage Beach is better than this one.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes. Oh, you think it's more ridiculous, or?
No, I said the ridiculousness of this one makes it just really fun.
I think it kind of goes like that. Like Hard Ticket to Hawaii has this one thing in it that made it like a cult, an object of fascination in some ways.
Yeah.
But like I think it's much more serious in its tone in terms of wanting to like forward a plot or whatever. And by the time you get to this one, like I don't remember it being so many interludes of like people just randomly figuring out whatever way they can to get, half naked.
Yeah, like, I'm getting dressed, any of that, like Brom mentioned, just any and all ways to get it going. But anyways, this is a fun movie. I don't know. It's insane. It's a 6.5.
There we go. Ooh, it's one of our highest rated probably.
There it is.
Brom, you're going to have to do some kind of recap of all our ratings at some point and find out where this one ranks.
I can work on that.
Do it. All right. And then, Zach, do you have...
Stop whatever you're doing and do that right now.
All right, I'm on it.
Zach, do you have a love it or hate it?
Shit, yeah.
Hell yeah, do it.
All right, let's
Zach,
love
do
it, hate it, Kyle.
Yes. I love it. No. I hate it.
What do we want first, boys?
I want love it first. Really?
Whoa.
Ooh. Anybody got a lucky coin to flip?
No, you're the
you're right.
vote, Kyle.
Hate it.
I am?
No, you're right. Hate it. He's right.
We want to
end
change
with
your vote, Jamie?
I changed my vote.
The momentum up high.
Okay, so what's the answer?
Hate it first.
Start with hate it.
Hate it. Okay, let me pull it up over here on my main screen. All right. This hate it review comes to us from angry_Santa, January 11th, 2021.
Well, no wonder he's angry.
Wow.
It's so far from Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So many twists during the movie, ... One moment you think the script is the worst. Next minute, you think the acting's the worst.
Oh.
After that, you think the directing's the worst. You'll be on the edge of your seat trying to figure out which aspect of this production should take the worst aspect award. 13-year-old fans of Silicone Mamas should be suitably impressed and entertained. But even they'll likely be too mature for this dialogue and storyline in this creation, which seems to have been aimed at 8-year-olds.
What about 36-year-olds?
Do yourself a favor. Go watch the original Thunderbirds marionette series. At least their acting will be far less wooden than what you'll find here. 1 out of 10.
You think this person listens to the podcast, Jamie?
Why?
Talking about acting being wooden.
Wooden?
Wooden.
I don't know what
I think
you're
that was
talking
more
You've said that
marionette
before.
thing. I think that was a marionette thing.
Yeah.
about. I think so. And I don't agree with that assessment of what they were talking about.
Yeah, you jumped in before I finished reading his review.
couldn't-
You
I couldn't stop.
disrespected Angry Santa. You disrespected Angry Santa.
I couldn't help myself because it's like, what? We're supposed to be just like stodgy grown-ups chomping on my cigar and looking at the Wall Street Journal. What is that? Is that how I'm supposed to live my life all of a sudden?
Yeah. And it's so funny. What is this made for 8-year-olds? Can you imagine you got an 8-year-old like, hey, you got to watch this. I think you're going to jail if you do that.
What 8-year-old?
Not allowed.
What
Train 'em
8-year-old? Like
young.
if I walked into a house and like a couple 8-year-olds were watching this, it's like, what the fuck?
That's what, a third grader?
Yeah. All right, let's jump to
Good
Love It.
Lord.
The 8-year-old's in like 5th grade, and a girl asked him if he's ever fallen in love with a girl before, and he's like 3 or 4 times a week.
I want to do my project on my favorite movie that my daddy lets me watch. All right, Love It. We've got.
This one's from Knuckle Clown.
This is from.
Interesting.
Actually, it's good. Now we're on the other end of the spectrum, not just because it's Love It. This is from Captain Ahab, January 12th, 1999.
Whoa. Right on it.
Where is this from?
This is IMDb.
Wow.
Captain Ahab, January 12th, 1999. Wrestling, women, and wackiness. Not only does this movie have some really attractive women, such as Julie Strain, but it also has the amazing Marcus Bagwell, also known as Buff the Stuff Bagwell. He portrays a former wrestler turned crime lord who kills his enemies in a wrestling ring. Lots of cheesy run-liners, bad special effects, silly gunfights, wrestling, and of course, nudity and sex. This movie is a joy to watch. 10 out of 10.
I don't disagree.
There you go, man.
I got a quick update too. This is the 63rd highest ranking, tied for the 63rd highest
There it
ranked
is.
film.
There it is.
on Submarine.
Almost 69.
Thank you for doing it.
Almost. Wow.
All right. Should I get a little trivia?
Do it.
All right. I'm just going to do one trivia. I'm going to keep this very, very quick. So, one trivia. Marcus Bagwell, a.k.a. Warrior, has stated that he found Paul Logan, a.k.a. Doc Austin, to have the nicest physique he's seen since the narcissist Lex Luger. That's your trivia right there. That's all you need to know, really.
Interesting.
That's it.
And then I'm going to do a little Phantom Zone. I almost forgot to do it. So hit that theme song.
Engage the Phantom.
Phantoms engaged, sir.
And I almost forgot to do it. I was like sitting here and I was like, oh man, what do I got to prepare for this? I was like, oh shit, I don't know who connects to our beloved Ed Harris in this movie. What am I going to do? But then I looked, the aforementioned Paul Logan, he was in, what was it called? So it was one of the Asylum movies, Piranha. Oh yeah, here we go. Mega Piranha. So he was in Mega Piranha. Mega Piranha also had Matt Lagan in it as a submarine captain. And Matt Lagan, my God, this man works, and he works as a submarine captain a lot. Because he was not only in 2010, one of our favorite movies of all time, he was in Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark as Admiral Engenberg. He was in, what was the other one I saw? Oh, he was in Titanic 2 as Commander Gray. He was in Mega Piranha as submarine captain Jim, as a Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. He was destroyer captain. He was in Lorelei as a submarine captain. So that's a way back one, Lorelei.
The Lorelei movie we watched?
I believe so. Yeah, let me click on it real quick just
Wow.
to check that
Which
one.
of the Pacific?
Yeah. Drama set during World War II, where a submarine carrying a secret weapon attempts to stop a planned third atomic bombing at Japan, based in Hiratushi's Fukushima Sushin Lorelei, 2005. Yeah, he was on that as a submarine captain.
You said a bunch of words I don't even understand.
I was just reading the thing. It's just a bunch of words I can't
Oh,
pronounce.
I got you.
Anyways, That's very once we're at all these ones, Lorelei, oh, it's no big deal. We can just get straight to Ed Harris. No problem. And really, I didn't have to do that because it's actually a little known fact, but Ed Harris, he directs under multiple pen names, and one of them is Andy Sidaris.
That would be unreal.
He didn't actually die. He just retired the name in 2005 or whatever.
I'm going to say something.
What's that?
Guys, I am not finding an Andy Sidaris podcast.
Whoa.
Just saying.
I see what you're saying.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Might need to do a season of Sidaris.
That's the name.
Yeah, right there.
A season of Sidaris.
Is this the bridge episode? We're just like, all right, we've done that for a while. Now on to Sidaris.
Do you think Amy Sidaris would co-host with us?
Oh my word.
Just do it.
That's got to be wild, right? Like something I don't even think we mentioned, right? Is Andy Sidaris, his wife is a producer on these, and then his son also works with him on these as well, on this particular
Family
movie as well.
business.
Yeah.
Still
is
is
just like wild,
It still
right?
is, I think. I mean, that's why all these things are available and stuff like that. You know, they completely own the rights to the movies, the family, and so
Sure.
they pedal them out.
I say we think about a season of Sidaris. There's potential.
Yeah. I think there
There's
is.
only,
I think
12
you're
movies?
right. Yeah, I mean, for us, like a season, that's like a micro season.
Yeah, and that would take us like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it fills a gap. Fills a gap.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it. Under Siege. You guys remember that one, of course?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was only 20 episodes ago.
Oh my God.
What? Are you with? That was 20 episodes?
Yeah, 136.
Wow.
We've been struggling.
Struggling mightily.
Yeah.
But maybe this
Well,
is
now
it.
that I'm
Maybe it's a
back-
Sidaris revolution.
Yeah.
A renaissance.
I'm in my basement now, and my wife said, I don't know if this is supposed to be derogatory or not. She said, I'm a basement person. Just means I like hanging out down here, I guess. But Zach's looking at me like, what's that supposed to mean?
No, I mean, well,
know.
I don't get I don't get the like. Was she making fun of you? Like, I don't. What?
I don't know. I'm like, I like chilling in the basement better. You know, it's cooler down here. It's quiet. We got my office all set up,
It's like my dog.
ready
Like,
to podcast all the time.
like Sprinkles. Sprinkles likes being in the basement because it's cooler, and also like loud noises
Yeah.
doesn't like those. So it's pretty much the same, I think.
Sprinkles is unemployed. I am now as
Exactly.
well. So there we go.
You don't like fireworks and thunderstorms,
They scare me, right?
right?
What are we
All
at?
right.
What are we at?
What are we at?
I think so. I think so.
think it's you,
I
Kyle.
finished my part.
Yeah,
I
you're
didn't
up
even
in the Brom.
I didn't even have to talk about Ed Harris and how he pulled his dick out and blah blah blah, all that stuff I used to do.
But he did.
No, you didn't. Oh, but you did. Yeah, you did.
He did, but not on this movie. Because he was the director. He was in the directing chair.
So it was just always out. He just went bottomless the whole time.
Bottomless. Everybody else is topless. He's like, I'm going bottomless.
I'm going bottomless for this one, guys. So they know that he's not sexualizing this. They can look at him. They can double check. Be like, oh, yeah, no, he's flaccid.
Seems
This is not exploitation.
everything's on the up and up over here. I mean, I'm not on the up and up. But you know what I'm talking
I'm on the down and down.
It's so funny because I got a text the other week from my dad, right? And he's like, oh, I listened to the last couple episodes. She's like, they've been really good because you guys haven't been talking about that type of stuff. I was like, it's going to be a little hard with this episode,
will be,
man.
yeah.
That's,
His dad's a pastor, by the way.
yeah.
Love that.
All right. It's time. It's subs worldwide. So as Jamie mentioned earlier in the podcast, our Interpol agent Sophia needed to utilize a submarine and return to Savage. Needed. I'm going to put quotes on that. Didn't really need to. It's kind of funny because you look at those submarines, right? They said they can't detect it by satellite. I think maybe that can go. They're not even like 150 feet.
I think it's 100
underwater.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people.
I think you could see. I
at least
think
in
you
some
can literally
of
see it through the water. Like just.
Oh yeah,
just look
I'm
at
pretty
it.
sure
Yeah.
you couldn't be like, what is?
There it is.
I see a sub. That's a big thing moving. A lot of people in reviews and comments or whatever accused Andy Sidaris of wanting to basically be on Hawaiian vacations when he's filming these things, right? So
Big whoop. So did Adam Sandler. Did anyone
There you
arrest
go,
him?
right?
I didn't think so.
no. So Andy Sidaris arrested for filming Hawaii. So anyways, he also utilized Hawaiian submarines from the company Atlantis Submarines. Now, I know probably submarine tourism is going to take a hit, I would imagine, for this summer. So maybe we could get some really good discount tickets. But as far as I know, I haven't looked a whole heck of a lot. I don't think there have been incidents on Atlantis submarines. Maybe there have been. Another thing that was kind of funny to me about the name Atlantis Submarines was they're in the Pacific Ocean. The city of Atlantis, if anywhere, is rumored to be over in like the Mediterranean, right? I know. I'm just like, there's too many layers
This is not
going on.
science right now.
This is not. Yeah, I know. If it exists, right? But whatever, man. It's fun to dream. So you can go onto Atlantis Submarine's website and get a video tour. It looks really awesome. Actually, what we saw in the movie is basically what happens. They take you in a boat out in the middle of the ocean. There's a submarine out there. You walk out on the bridge, boom, and you go off. Pretty cool. Oh, shoot. Let me see. I had all the prices pulled up, at least I thought, Jamie, but now I might have screwed this up. So you said this was the Maui Undersea Adventure.
Yeah, this was the Maui one because they
submarine that
mentioned
you can
specifically.
go on.
Oh, the guy runs in, the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, runs into the screen and says, "Oh, they just stole, they hijacked or stole the Maui submarine from the dock." And so, it's,
okay.
and then on the website, it said the Maui one is the flagship. So it was like the original. I think it was, even though this was number 4, I guess, Atlantis 4, they said the Maui one was the flagship submarine.
Okay. And you can go on this submarine if you are an adult. Tickets are $148. Children, 3 feet tall, up to 12 years old, costs $66.
Oh, come
There's
on.
a I know,
Be
man.
free. Some bullshit.
Right. Get these kids excited about it. It's a 48
We should
passenger
subsidize
submarine.
it. You know what? That's our new thing. We now subsidize kids' tickets to these submarines and to any other
All right.
submarines they want to go on. If they find one.
That could be our
Is that a
fundraiser.
tax write-off?
For us, yeah, it's a donation. It's what do we call it? Subs Worldwide. That's
Yeah.
now the charity name.
There we go. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? I work for Subs Worldwide.
Or
We send
it could
children
be
on
like
submarines.
you know that charity Cars for Kids.
Right in the wake of a huge catastrophe involving a submersible.
Recent news.
We're trying to put more
Garner
kids
some
on
interest in
submarines.
submarines from your kids. Yeah, we will send them on submarines. Oh my god!
It's a good idea.
Oh my word!
I think we nailed it this time.
Yeah, this is good. So we can send them 100 feet below to check out all kinds of Hawaiian
That's not bad.
stuff going on, man. So it's great, you know. Check in. You got to check in 45 minutes prior to your time.
How long is it?
Why? I don't
Did
know.
you get any length? I don't care about the other stuff. I don't care about the
gosh.
beam. I don't care about
I
the
know.
whatever.
I know.
I just want to know length, please. And how many horses are
The
pulling
length
it?
of the sub?
Yeah. And how many horses are pulling it from
know.
land with a rope?
It does not say here.
Never mind.
It's rough. I know. Terrible.
How are the kids going to get excited unless you tell them
Yeah, I know. I got to do a little bit better. Total duration will be 1 hour 45 minutes. Okay. Yeah, this has been a little lackluster subs worldwide, but I think something really good came out of it with the charity tonight.
Yeah.
So if
Subs
anything,
for kids.
Yeah.
Front 7 minute subs for kids. Do subs for
Subs
kids.
for kids.
Do subs for
Subs for
kids.
kids. Subs for
you guys are
you
really onto
and
something.
me and kids.
There we go.
Wow. Amazing.
Or-
Oh, hold on. I forgot. Before I turn it over to Brom, there are some good Google questions and answers with Atlanta submarines. And so this one, it says, what kind of in the wake of what happened, but this is way before. What is the contingency plan if something goes wrong with the sub underwater? Yes, things can happen, no matter what anyone thinks. That's what they said. Donnie W. chimed in, Atlanta Submarines has a fantastic contingency plan, including making peace with your God, familiarizing patrons with the 7 stages of accepting your inevitable death, and a 10% discount for surviving family members. And somehow that only has 9 thumbs up on Google. So get out there and upvote Donnie W. All right? Deserve something for that.
Donnie Wahlberg.
Holy smokes, you think it is?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Classic. All right, that's all I got.
Nice.
That was
That's all I
good.
got.
That was good.
Brom, you got anything?
Hit me with it.
Tube 3 ready to fire, sir.
Commence the countdown.
Give it to me.
And I got my fingers crossed because I'm hoping that you did something. Did you do a place for mom?
I actually looked up a place for mom.
Is it doing
I
any more
looked them
lists?
up.
Is it doing lists?
It didn't make it. I was- the best that I could get out of a place for mom, they had a blog about GPS devices to protect your loved ones, your elderly loved ones. I'm like, that could tie in a little bit with the submersible, the Oceangate submersible that went down.
Probably for the
That they
best.
lost.
It's probably for the
And
best.
I'm like, that's probably in bad taste.
Yeah. It's probably for the best because if you had a place for mom, this 1.5 hour episode would stretch to 2.5 hours at least. 'Cause I'd be going nuts.
Like, what would a place for moms, 90s Playmates or something? Like,
God, that'd
Don't
be amazing if
even
that
tease
existed.
me. Come on.
That would be amazing. Instead, we've gone to Marie Claire, the magazine.
oh,
We got editorial writer here, Mahira Boner, with her top 5 best softcore. That's probably Bonner. All right, but I
like whatever you got going on.
Mahira Boner, the top 5 best softcore pornos that you can get your hands on. So if you enjoyed this one that we watched tonight, here are 5 others you could dive into, guys. I'm gonna give you the quick synopsis as Mahira shared with us here. At the end of it, I want you guys to tell me which one you would tune into next. All right. She even provided a link. If you look up this list, you can follow a link to watch the respective softcores. But here we go. Number 5, the first turn on. If you're looking for some softcore sexiness with a little more camp and humor, we had plenty of that tonight, I must say, then give 1983's The First Turn On a go. The movie focuses on a group of campers and their obligatory counselor chaperone who find themselves stuck in a cave after a landslide and decide to pass the time sharing of their first times, as you are wont to do.
It's like a penthouse type thing. Penthouse letters or something.
Sure, yeah.
It's like, oh, and I had this crazy scenario, but they're all like clearly lies.
All right.
Yeah.
And they're all getting bothered and hot while trapped inside of a
They're not getting hot and
collapsed
bothered. They're getting bothered and hot.
cave. Bothered and hot. That's how I've always said it.
Oh, wow.
Number 4, A Perfect Ending, featuring mainstream talent like Morgan Fairchild and John Hurd. A Perfect Ending is one of those movies
Wait.
that, yeah.
Isn't John Hurd Napoleon Dynamite?
No, it's Hater.
John Hader, yeah.
John Heater.
God.
Yeah, Heater.
I
A
wish it
Perfect
was
Ending is one of those movies. Just imagine Napoleon Dynamite as the male lead in this. A Perfect Ending is
I'll
one
do
of
that.
those movies that checks the boxes for both sexy AF softcore porn and actual movie with story and plot. The movie follows Rebecca, a housewife in an unhappy and unfulfilling marriage, who confides in two lesbian friends that she's never experienced an orgasm. At their suggestion, she enlists the help of a high-priced escort named Paris, who helps her discover and take control of her sexuality. Sounds pretty hot.
I'm intrigued. I have to put my
Number
glasses on
3.
for that one.
Yeah, I can imagine. Number 3, The Angels of Sex. A steamy Spanish language film about gorgeous students who have a bunch of steamy sex with each other and, in the process, learn some things about love and growing up, too. We love a good coming-of-age softcore porn.
I don't like to read subtitles.
What?
I'm joking. I love reading subtitles, but not in my softcore pornography.
I mean, they're just going to be groaning and grunting for half the movie, so...
The parentheses. Guttural sounds.
Guttural sounds, squelches. Number 2, Animal Instincts.
Oh.
The plot of this movie involves a cop that wants to spice up his marriage by filming his wife in various sexual encounters with other people. There's more...
I thought you were going to say animals.
No. There's more plot that happens when this eventually gets them into trouble with a mobster. Ah, that classic tale. But let's be honest, with sex scenes this hot, you won't be watching it for the plot.
Yeah, I have looked up. I actually was like, wait, I've heard of this before, and I started typing into my phone in Google, and it already was a search in my phone.
You've searched this 18 times in the past 365 days.
No, I look up a lot of me and my brother Patrick. We look up a lot of the New York Times. He does like this whole project where he's like using a computer program to parse the New York Times TV listings from like the 90s, and basically he scrapes it and then pulls out all the movies that are listed in the TV listings. And so when we find interesting ones that we've never heard of, often we're looking at them. Animal Instincts was one of those.
There you go. This one's pretty famous too, I think. Might have popped up in your Google search history there. Embrace of the Vampire, starring, somewhat amazingly, a young Alyssa Milano as, what else, a college co-ed. This campy softcore classic has the perfect mix of silliness and sexiness. It's like if Twilight actually, went all the way.
I believe Twilight does go all the way. Just the same. She has a baby, and it's half vampire.
It's true.
Okay. How do you think that baby came
Dude,
about?
I haven't ever seen those movies.
Me neither. Never will.
Any of them?
Never. I haven't seen them.
And you'll never watch any of them? You'll never read the books.
No.
You're never going to read the
All
books.
right. Jamie.
You're never going to listen to them as an audiobook on a long car ride.
Would I want to?
Maybe your children
Are
would.
they good?
Maybe your children would
Oh,
want
maybe.
to. And then all of a sudden
Maybe
you're doing
that's-
it, and you said never. And guess what? You're going to have to backtrack on that.
You're right. Dude, I can't say never because I also said I'd never have a minivan. Now we got a minivan.
There we go.
Yeah, we could always have a season of the podcast, too, that requires us to watch Twilight. Like a werewolf season or something like that.
It might be out for that season.
He's
Or
he's shampooing his hair for that season.
Wasn't there like a famous baseball game or something?
There was. Yeah. They had a big old baseball game in the middle of the first movie, and it all went with the music with it was Muse, because the author thanked Muse in like the recognition or the whatever acknowledgments of her original book.
Oh my goodness.
Because I guess she listened to Muse while she wrote the book.
Yeah, that came up in Black Mirror this new season that just dropped too.
What, Muse?
But yeah, that song for a werewolf episode. Top 5 though, that was the top 5 best softcore pornos. If you guys are in the market, again, coming from Marie Claire's Me Hear a Boner.
Yeah, so I'm definitely in on Animal Instinct. It's got Jan Michael Vincent, who was in the original Mechanic, and that sounds like it's pretty high class then, if it's got such a movie star in it.
Jan Michael. I know you've said that name many times.
Jan Michael.
I'm pulling him up here.
Take a look at his face. There he is.
Oh,
That's a
look at
handsome
him.
MFer.
He is handsome.
Look at those cheekbones.
Yeah.
I think you sold me on that one as well, Jamie. That's
JMV.
it for me, though.
That guy's dead, Jamie.
He is. He did pass away. I believe he was an alcoholic.
Ooh.
Although, don't take me at my word for it, but
Ooh.
Great. We're going to get sued for slander.
I didn't say I was sure. And I'm also not saying it's it's not a slanderous thing I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. All right. What do we, let's see.
I think that's it.
Zach,
I think
what do you
we
got for
don't
us,
have
man?
anything more, right?
Bang, bang. Pop, pop, pop me in.
Zach Facts, it's Zach Facts. When you're going down, get some Zach Facts when you're going down.
Zach Facts. How many? What's the over-under?
Ooh, over under 3.5.
Going under for sure.
Over. He liked this.
Yeah, I think
He's
so
excited
too. I'm
about
going
it.
over 3.5.
I'm going
I think he
against myself
probably-
too. I usually go over because it's always the best way to go.
I bet he crowdsourced some Zach facts with some Ash facts. Let's hear him.
Did we good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm over.
Okay. Zach Facts. Fact number 1. The opening sequence, if we remember, which actress was the one in the opening sequence in the purple bikini?
Julie Strain.
Julie Strain. Yes, that opening sequence required over 20 reshoots. Believe it or not, 20 reshoots just because her bikini was constantly going too far up inside of her.
Wouldn't even doubt it, man.
All right, fact number 2. This is a quick fact for you. Just all actors were completely natural, and there were no enhancements at all in this film. All right, let's
Told you, Brom. Told you everything was real.
let's go to
I
fact
never
number
challenged
3.
you on it.
Fact number 3. Who was the blonde girl that was like sniping the 3 people in the building? Which actress was that? Which character was that?
That Cobra.
Sophia,
Sophia?
the Interpol agent?
Yes, the Interpol agent. Yes, Sophia.
Yeah, so Carrie Westcott.
Carrie Westcott. Yeah. So she had to, you believe it or not, did you see her kind of spin moves on the rollerblades when she was doing that, little spin moves? That took her 9 months to learn to do those. She had to take intense rollerblading classes after her local stripping. So.
Oh, my word.
And fact number 4.
This is where we see. Oh, there we go,
Yep.
Jamie.
And fact number 4. Who was Kyle? Who's Raul? Who's Raul? What actor was that? Do you have that?
Do they even
played
have him
Raoul.
listed?
Yeah,
I don't think he's listed.
Okay. Let's just,
Not even listed.
say Raoul.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
just say
have to
the
go
actor
through all the
that played
credits and make sure he
So,
gets it.
the actor who played Raul, this guy, the director made him wear this mask on 24/7 for months in preparation for this 3-second scene. He said it was the hardest 3 months of his life.
He's a method actor, man.
And there you go. That's all the facts. That's 4 facts for you.
Oh, God. Raul.
His name was Raul. Was it Raul or Carlos?
Okay. I thought Kyle was saying Raul all the time.
Because there's someone listed as Carlos.
Is it Carlos?
He was so confident it was Raul.
Oh, my God.
Hey. We're doing great over here on Submersion. We are not imploding at all.
Well, guys, it's been a longest episode in history for the best movie we've ever done. And I think we can all agree. Kyle, should we all say it together? The final line. Do you guys know the final line?
Let me pull up my line. Let me pull it up.
Text me. Oh, yes, I do know.
Yep.
All right. And we'll all
drink to that.
Thank you for listening to Submersion. Don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every Thursday. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating wherever you listen. Want to interact with us? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also love to get messages from all of you. If you have a suggestion, a comment, or just anything you'd like to share, please email us at maceaststudios@gmail.com.